This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Good evening and welcome inside the RebZone, coming to you this week from Salt Lake City after UNLV played BYU. Kevin Bullinger alongside Runnin Rebel's head coach TJ Otzelberger. We're going to get to the games that we played this last week in a minute, but first let's talk with how the week began, which was a tough one with Elijah Mitra-Long going down with an injury in practice. How does that change what you have in the backcourt, because you're very limited to begin with?
Well, I think Elijah with the broken thumb happened Monday in practice. Really unfortunate. He's coming off his best game of the year at Cincinnati, where he had 29. I think he gives us a veteran, experienced guard. He can guard the dribble, help get us organized as a point guard. That's a big loss for our team, and provided some additional challenges for us.
When you already have a thin backcourt with Jonah Antonio also out, is it going to be a case where Doni Tillman's going to have to handle the ball a little bit more and play big guard off of his forward position, or are you just going to have to rely more on Marvin Coleman and a little bit more down the bench?
I think it'll be some of both. I think Marvin's done some positive things for us. We know he's going to give us everything that he's got out there, and just a tremendous young man, so we'll look his direction. And then I think at times with Donnie as well, we've moved him between that 3 and that 4 position. He's got the versatility to play both, so depending on how we feel we need to play on a given night, we'll look at that, and whether it's Marvin or Donnie filling those minutes.
Well, let's start our look back of the week, beginning with the game that was played right here in Salt Lake City against BYU on Saturday.
Old Mountain West rivals reunite as the Rebels run with BYU in Salt Lake City. The Cougars set the tone in the game right from the start, picking apart the UNLV defense and bombing 3 after 3 after 3. They also had great ball movement, like this sequence, before kicking it out to Connor Harding for the triple. An 11-1 run opened things up midway through the first half. The Rebels tried to stay in it. Nick Blair goes inside off the glass, and Hardy with the dribble penetration for the bucket. But BYU kept the pressure on. Yoli Childs hits a 3. Then the UNLV defensive breakdown gives Childs a slam. Doni Tillman led the Rebs in the first half, getting through traffic and hitting the scoop shot. But BYU shot 60%, including 9 of 13 from three-point range in the first half, and they led 46-25 at the break. The second half wasn't much better. Dalton Nixon and TJ Haws hit back-to-back threes to start the final 20 minutes. For UNLV, Mbake Jong got the ball in the lane and he throws it down. BYU didn't let up. Childs with the hook in the hat. Haws with the sweet pass to a driving Nixon for the hoop and the harm. And Jake Toulson schooling on the dribble for 2. UNLV was overmatched on both ends of the floor and shot just 7 of 24 from three-point range. It was a rough afternoon as the Cougars roll over the Rebels, 83-50.
It came out flat. And with a team like that has established a culture, has established themselves throughout the years, and a team that can get going really quick, if you come out and let go the first punch, obviously you see what can happen.
All right, so this was a rough one. There's no way to work around that. Let's start with the defensive end, because it looked like BYU was just picking UNLV apart on that end of the floor.
Yeah, I think we were a step slow with everything. Our effort from the jump, we talked about in our preparation that we needed to be the team that was the aggressor. We need to throw the first punch, and that not literally but figuratively, and then keep coming. And our effort, we were a step behind. I think they could sense that, and it probably gave them some more energy. And I felt like on the offensive side for us, we were slow with cutting and moving. They made some choices defensively, not guarding certain guys to really clog the lane and prevent penetration. And then when we got shots, they flew it at us in transition, and we always seemed to be trailing the play. Obviously, they're a great passing team. Having Childs back gives them that low post presence and the ability to zip it around, and we could just never really get into rhythm and settle into the game.
2 things offensively that stood out. There seemed to be some spacing issues at times, and also shot selection. I'm sure you don't want your big shooting threes as much as they did, although you don't want to pull guys back and say don't shoot, but in terms of early in the game, it seems like that kind of dug you guys a hole.
It did. I mean, I think they made the choices really when our frontline guys didn't have the ball to just kind of pack the paint and try to keep Tillman and Hamilton and Hardy out of the lane. They did a great job with it. I thought that the shots that we took maybe were a bit early, even in the clock. We need to be a little more patient, play through. If those are shots that present themselves at the very end of the shot clock, there's times you need to take them. Probably aren't the shots that we want early in the clock, and I think, then we weren't able to make them pay with those shots, so they continued to just pack the paint, and that really caused us some problems.
In terms of coming out of this thing, are you somebody who just says throw that away and let's move on, or do you utilize that this next week in practice to kind of pick apart where things have to improve?
Well, certainly we want to be a program, and we pride ourselves on working harder, being highly competitive, being resilient and fighting, and that didn't happen here today. Those are things that we can address on the practice floor. Hadn't really had that time over the last 4 to 6 weeks, just been a wave of games coming at us. And so now we have that time to get back to teach and to really coach effort, energy, enthusiasm. So again, there's not a lot of X's and O's you can take away from the game, because if you're not going to give a maximum effort and try your hardest, nothing's probably going to work. So first we got to address the effort, then we'll pick things up with X's and O's. But I'm looking forward to a highly competitive week of practice.
Well, let's turn our attention now to Wednesday, where the Mountain West schedule opened a bit earlier than normal, and it came up with a good night for the Runnin Rebels in Fresno. Without Elijah Mitro-Long and Jonah Antonio, UNLV was shorthanded on guards, and both teams struggled shooting out of the gate. Bryce Hamilton got the start in the backcourt, and he drove to get the left-handed lay-in. Then Amauri Hardy alley-oops to Mbake Jong. Fresno State stayed right there. The block by Nate Grimes, and that starts transition, which is finished by Jared Hyder. More than 12 minutes into the game, the score was tied at only 9 apiece. But the Rebels worked hard. Hamilton on the floor for the loose ball, and he feeds Jong, and he throws it down. That is when Fresno caught fire. Noah Blackwell hit back-to-back threes, and Mustafa Lawrence went for back-to-back triples as part of a 14-0 Bulldog run to open up a 12-point lead. Amauri Hardy answered with back-to-back trifectas of his own. UNLV was down 6 at the half. The Rebels opened up the second half on a 7-0 run, capped by this Hardy three. It was back and forth the rest of the way. Another alley-oop from Hamilton to Jong. Then Donnie Tillman drives. He gets the hoop and the harm. Orlando Robinson helped Fresno inside as the big man worked for two. Moments later, Jong picked up his fourth foul with 10 minutes to go, but it was the guards on both teams who dominated the rest of the way. New Williams with the three and the foul. Hamilton answers with the bucket and the bump on the other end. Jong would foul out with 4:17 to go and the Rebels down 6. Tillman went to work, getting the offensive rebound and putback. Then Hamilton hit a three, but with 1:18 to go, Williams would drain a triple to give the Bulldogs a 5-point lead, setting up the late game drama. Marvin Coleman was the hero, hitting the three with 32 seconds left. That would cut it to 2. Then the Rebel defense forces a turnover to get the ball back. Hamilton came through in the clutch. The spin and the bank, and it goes with 7.4 seconds left. We were headed to overtime. Both teams exchanged threes in the OT. With 48 seconds left, Blackwell hit one of 2 free throws. That would put Fresno up 1. With 13 seconds to go, Tillman gets fouled off the inbound, but he can only convert on 1 of 2 free throws, and a second overtime was needed. Hamilton banked in a 3 to get things going. Then off the Hamilton miss, the fight for the ball, and it gets tipped in for the Rebels. Tillman hit 2 clutch free throws down the stretch, and with Fresno down 3 late, they couldn't get it to go. The putback bucket for the Bulldogs goes in, but it wasn't enough, as the Runnin Rebels win in overtime for the first time in 4 tries this season with a thrilling 81-80 win.
Brings a lot of confidence to the team and things. We celebrated, of course, but right now it's on to the next game. We proved the ability that we can finish games, and we're going to continue to do that in the future.
It's huge. A lot of our players, we stepped up, including me and Donnie. We had Mark come in, get big minutes for us. Nick, we just stepped up, and, we just got the good win.
Let's start at the end of the game. It goes into double overtime. You have already in 10 games been in 4 overtime games. How much did those earlier overtime games and crunch time situations help you guys on Wednesday in Fresno?
You know, I think they really pay dividends. I mean, we want to schedule and challenge ourselves in the non-league, non-conference play. I think we've done that. And unfortunately, 3 of those games, we came out with the loss. Want to certainly be on the other side of the ledger, and then we had a few other close losses as well. And so hopefully that builds that resiliency, that builds the experience of when your guys are in those situations, come league play and beyond, they say, you know, we've been in this spot before, we've learned from it, we know how to respond to this situation. I thought our guys against Fresno, even though we got down in the stretch in that first half, and we had to keep fighting, fought back late, even down 5 late in the game. Our guys, they had a way about them that they said, you know, we've been in these situations, let's change our fate, and they stepped up and answered the call.
It was a sluggish start for both teams. At the under 8 timeout, it was tied at 9 apiece. Was that a feeling out process as well for UNLV? It was the first game without Eli, who had been out obviously since Monday's practice there. But things really picked up flow-wise, especially with your backcourt players.
Well, I think we felt like we had the advantage physically to go to the paint, to go to the glass, and that's what we tried to do. And I think with Tillman stepping up the way that he did with 28 and Hamilton with 21, those guys were really good matchup situations for us that we continue to get the ball to. They really did a great job in the paint finishing, and so we knew it was probably going to be a choppier game, and that's how we felt like was probably going to give us the best chance to win. And you know, it kind of got going a little more as the game wore on.
Well, we're going to take our first break right here in the Reb Zone. When we come back, we're going to go one-on-one and do a feature with guard Amauri Hardy. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
One of the Runnin Rebels players that came back for this season is Amauri Hardy, and he is carrying a big load so far for UNLV. And he says that he likes the vision of what UNLV is doing, and that's one of the reasons he wanted to stay.
UNLV fans have seen Amauri Hardy grow before their eyes. The junior guard has developed every year, and this season, Hardy has taken a bigger role in handling the ball and scoring more.
As far as like TJ coming in, you know, which would be my junior year, a lot of guys are leaning on me. I'm the guy that's been here for a lot of the time. As far as like the other guys coming in, I think guys just kind of leaned on me in that way, and you know, the ball always seems to find me in the game.
His knowledge of the Mountain West will come in handy in January when the conference grind begins, and Hardy can help with some of the road venues that sometimes trip players up.
Preparing their bodies to drink more water, whether you go play up in New Mexico, whether we go play up at Air Force, you know, just having those things in mind, you know, going forward to try to give us an advantage and not, you know, be at a disadvantage going up there and being blindsided, because, you know, for me, I've already been up there, so I'll be doing my team a disservice by not, you know, telling them that.
Anytime a coach departs, players transfer. Hardy decided to stay and said it was a matter of unfinished business in Las Vegas.
I would definitely say it's, you know, finish what I started. You know, I came in with a lot of familiar faces that are still here. You know, we still got a lot of work cut out for us, and I think, you know, we got some amazing guys here that's going to help me along the way.
He also has his dad and a brother here. Jaden is a junior at Coronado and is a big-time recruit in the class of 2021. Hardy says he gets out to watch his brother's games as much as he can and trying to help prepare him for the recruiting grind that Jaden is already facing.
He leans on me a lot more than I probably expected. He watches a lot of things that I do. He watches a lot of things that I say. You know, even then when he's asking me about schools, you know, where he decided I want to go to school, whether it be, you know, coaching philosophies, whether it be like experience that I've had being at UNLV. He sees how I was handled like adversity and times like that, so I feel like it gives him, you know, a kind of advantage to be ahead of the game for as far as when he gets in college. You know, just be able to have that, you know, that big brother, because I didn't have that there for me. You know, so I had to be the first one to experience, you know, drop off that knowledge to him.
But Amauri Hardy's main focus is UNLV, and he says the early season losses to big-time programs will only benefit this team later in the season.
We've been put in a lot of tough late game situations. You know, we're still continuously learning, you know, how to handle those situations, you know, how we can be more prepared, how we can be more efficient in those situations. how we can continue to remain calm. And I think, we did a great job of that versus Cincinnati, and I think we will continue to do that throughout the season.
There may not be as many wins in this early season, but Hardy says the best is yet to come.
I definitely feel like we're being slept on right now, but I know we will wake people up soon. We'll all come together and we'll all figure it out.
All right, so when you talk to Amauri Hardy, he's a guy that always seems kind of prepared. He kind of is one of those guys as a junior who's learned a lot in his first 2 years. He's become a leader for you on this team.
He has. I mean, he's a competitive young man. I think he comes every day with a workman approach. He puts a lot of time into his game. He's got a lot of character and resolve, and I'm really respectful and appreciative to him of how he's embraced our coaching staff, especially as we've gotten going with this season. He comes every day ready to work. He's propping up his teammates. He's becoming more and more vocal. I'm really proud of Amauri for that.
We're going to take another quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to do a feature on Donnie Tillman, who played right here in high school in Las Vegas, and he has returned home to play for the Runnin Rebels. Stay with us.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
One of the biggest gets for Coach Otzelberger in the offseason was getting Doni Tillman to come from Utah and then get the eligibility waiver by the NCAA. It's paying dividends right now for the Runnin Rebels, and he says he's ready to roll.
Donnie Tillman is quickly making a name for himself as the motor that never stops for the Runnin Rebels.
Call myself a big guard, like the thing. I'm a bigger wing and stuff. I just like to get downhill, be aggressive on the boards and shoot. That's it. Keep my game pretty simple, not too flashy.
The junior transferred from Utah, but he's no stranger to Las Vegas. He moved here with his mom when he was 15 to attend Findlay Prep. Tillman has a special bond with his mom, who has battled grand mal seizures, and he got a transfer waiver to come play here right away to help her out.
She's doing better now. I'm glad to be around her. Seen her the other day. She gave me a good Thanksgiving plate recently, But yeah, just to be closer to her. Either I got the waiver or not, And I'm blessed I did. I call her every day. I got to because she's gonna bug me anyway, I just love her.
The Detroit native calls Las Vegas his second home, but he runs on the court with another Motor City product, Amauri Hardy, who he's known since they were 12.
In the middle school game, we played against each other. He had like 25 or something against with a broken hand. Man, we still won, though.
This group of Runnin Rebels has formed a tight bond, and Tillman believes it starts away from basketball.
Real relationships are made off the court, so I really call these dudes my brothers, you know what I mean? Just hang with them, that's how you get a better connection on the court. How you gonna trust a guy next to you don't know nothing about him?
That means video games and Tillman spreading his fanaticism for shoes. But it always returns to basketball, and Tillman says good things are building.
I'm confident in every game. I think the next game we'll come together. We put a lot of time in on this court and stuff, potentially. We don't take no days off in practice, we go hard.
That starts with head coach TJ Otzelberger, someone Tillman connected with right away.
I believe in him, and he believes in me. So I'm going to stick to the plan, and try to get better every day.
A day-by-day build that will be built around the versatile forward who likes to play like a guard. It's the foundation for the future.
All right, so let's talk Donnie Tillman, and getting the waiver was huge in terms of this year's team because he brings so much athleticism to the court.
He does. I mean, Donnie's physicality, his size and explosiveness, he is really a tough matchup, and he's a guy that can beat you from the three, he can beat you off the bounce, he can beat you in the post, and he can be a tenacious rebounder. So he really gives us a versatile weapon that we can use in a lot of different ways, and really happy to see how he's continued to progress as the season has moved forward.
It was important for him to come not only just to play at UNLV, but he self-proclaimed mama's boy and back here to help out his mom. It's good for a program to have good kids, and this is a guy who's not just a good player, but he's a good kid.
Yeah, I mean, Donnie's a tremendous young man, obviously. Wanted to be here for his mom as she had some struggles, and says a lot about him and who he is. And so we were fortunate to get him back. He's a tremendous young man, very coachable, wants to do the right thing, and we're going to continue to give him more opportunities to step up because our team needs him.
He's one for the fans to watch. We're taking our final break. We're coming back with some final thoughts from Coach Otzelberger and the Runnin Rebel plays of the week right after this.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
All right, Coach, no games here for a week and a half or so. You do have finals, but how do you approach this week from a basketball standpoint for your squad?
There's a lot of things we need to improve on, probably nothing more than just our work habits and making sure that everything we do is competitive and really try to bring out that desire to win and fight and give everything that we have. And so we'll design practice in such a way over the week that we really get back to those habits.
All right, Coach, have a good week. We'll see you next Sunday in the Red Zone. We hope to see you there as well. Thanks for joining us for this one. We leave you tonight with the Runnin Rebel plays of the week. Good night.
The RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.